Transport is a major user of energy and burns most of the world's petroleum. This creates air pollution, including nitrous oxides and particulates, and a significant contributor to global warming through emissions of carbon dioxide. In 2015, the Houston Woodlands and Dallas-Fort Worth area was included in the top 10 most ozone-polluted cities in the U.S., with Los Angeles, Long Beach area being first. Air pollution is mostly high in big metropolitan areas, but using public transportation helps improve air quality for the people living in it. Public transportation helps reduce energy consumptions such as greenhouse gas emissions and other pollutants that cause smog. Public transportation also allows individuals opportunities that they may not have had otherwise. It improves access to education, employment, and everything people need to be independent. Some public transportation we have available includes the Metro Rail in Houston, the Aggie Spirit bus on the Texas A&M campus, and recently added our shareable bikes by OFU.
Public transportation has an extremely low utilization rate. This is due to the fact that most Americans would rather drive their own vehicle instead of carpooling or using a bus. Because of how little Texans use public transportation has become an underdeveloped industry. In major cities like Austin and Houston, the bus routes don't reach all areas of the city. Here is a photo of the bus routes proposed by Capital Metro in Austin. They've added more bus routes as the city is growing, and the bus has not been able to reach the new population as it spreads. In major cities like Austin and Houston, a lack of public transportation causes a decrease in air quality. This decrease of air quality is caused by the release of ozone by the vehicles used in the city. Having a city with a population of over 2 million, like in Houston, and a utilization of your own vehicle at 91%, most cars are releasing ozone at all times of the day.
As of now, transportation accounts for 29% of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States. The most affected communities that are affected by public transportation are people who are in the urban and suburban areas. The reason for these people to be affected is due to horrible air quality coming from the traffic congestion. If we as a society increase public transportation, we can be sure to improve our air quality drastically. The reason public transportation improves the air we breathe is due to the fact that overall emission from vehicles is reduced. Smog is created by emission from the vehicles. Public transportation vehicles tend to create less air pollution or even no air pollution. For example, transits that run on electricity. Most public transportation utilize a form of natural gas known as CNG, compressed natural gas. CNG is known to produce less air pollutants. Bad air pollution due to the lack of public transportation can cause many problems, anywhere from short-term to long-term problems. Air pollutants affect the human and the environmental health of the earth. According to the World Health Organization, it would say that air pollutants like nitrous oxide and sulfur dioxide cause inflamed airways, eye irritation, and damage to the respiratory tract. Mortality rates increase by 0.3% for each day for every 10 micrograms per cubic meter increase in pollution or smog within a region. There is also a 15 to 20% mortality increase with cities of high level of pollution. Most people are well aware that living next to a major road, interstate, or highway is associated with an increase in asthma and other cardiovascular disease. Public transportation also has a correlation with obesity. Research has shown that the chance of being obese increased by 6% for every 60 minutes in a car. Thus, versus people who commute and may utilize bikes such as OFO, are better at remaining more physically active and fit. Thus, it is important for us as a whole to work together to increase the use in public transportation to have longer and healthier life expectancies for our society and future.
One way that public transportation could be promoted in urban settings would be possibly finding incentive programs for using a bus or carpooling to work. For example, maybe if an employee uses a method of public transportation to get to work for a certain amount of days, they could receive an extra vacation day or monetary incentives. An example of monetary incentives working was presented in an article about public transportation usage on college campuses. Heath and Gifford presented an example of incentives working with recycling. They noted that when recycling became relatively effortless, or when monetary incentives were given, people recycled regardless of the degree of their environmental concern. So, they found that when something provides benefit for someone or requires little to no extra effort, people are more likely to do something. Another way to promote public transportation would be to invest state or federal money to revamp the public transportation system, possibly raising taxes for a temporary period of time to save money for renovations and new marketing. People are more likely to use things when they look clean and new, or when the option exhibits true benefits for them. And lastly, another way to encourage ridership for public transit is to put more vehicles, buses or trains, into circulation. According to Frank Matthew Hawley from Clemson University, he found through survey that the most important factor to an individual's decision to ride or not to ride is the frequency of buses and the associated length of wait time for a bus. If more vehicles were in circulation during peak transit times, then waits would be shorter and people would be more encouraged to use these services because they'd be able to get from point A to point B in less time.